You might have noticed Eliza Bleu trending. Let me explain why Twitter and I absolutely freaking hate her. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef The Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to another dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the news and pop culture stories of the day that's pretty much caught me eye. And oh my goodness, I am interrupting the usual programming of the Harry Meghan situation to bring you Eliza Bleu. Yeah, who is she? Why does Twitter hate her? Why do I freaking hate her? Hint, I've always said there's a special kind of hell for people that lie about being survivors. Oh, yeah. Now, before I get into all the introductory details that you need to know about this complex situation, a little bit of housekeeping. Firstly, YouTube human reviewer, I see you lurking. I'm not going to say any trigger words or anything that's going to offend your ear holes. And to everyone else awesome enough to have clicked on this video, hi, welcome, how are you doing? If you love this kind of news and pop culture on the daily, served with a little bit of sass and gobbiness, which is basically this, right? Do make sure you click on that subscribe button, because I'm going to be bringing you more on this lady. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories and whatevers. Also, as well, for your consideration, you can always send me a super thanks, which is just below this video right here. And, oh yeah, let's jump into this, shall we? So, Eliza Bleu. Here she is. So she has introduced herself onto Twitter as an anti-XXX trafficking advocate, saying herself that she is a survivor of this kind of thing. Now, I remember when Elon Musk took over Twitter and he was getting into all those Twitter spaces that were going on at the time. Eliza Bleu was there. She was speaking. I think at one point she was co-hosting some of them or hosting some of them about the whole trafficking issue on Twitter, particularly with minors. And yeah, Elon Musk took note, seemed to have endorsed her and said to her, "You've got a direct line to me." Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But from that to now, why the hell does Twitter and I hate her a shiz ton? Well, here we go. Eliza Bleu and Musk are now embroiled in a Twitter censorship controversy after multiple critics of Eliza Bleu shared images from a past that saw accounts being temporarily suspended from the site. Some users suggested that because of Eliza Bleu's direct line to Elon Musk, that may have led to the crackdown of people being banned or perma-banned from Twitter, such as thequartering, which, by the way, if you're not already, his links are in the description bar below. His Twitter, his YouTube, and his coffee brand Coffee website. Please support him. His Twitter threads on this whole Eliza Bleu situation were the first things that I read, and they really, really helped me get to grips and understand this extremely complex situation. So shout out to him for that. Now, two former friends of Eliza Bleu have now spoken out and told the Daily Beast that at best, she's actually exaggerating her experiences for... Yes, attention, clout. What else, right? Carly Wenzel, who was a one-time pal, has known her for 20 years, has said it's making a lot of her old friends around here really angry, and added that she believes that Eliza Bleu is completely lying. Now, she grew up in Illinois with Iowa, known as the Quad Cities. She's portrayed her whole upbringing, her homeschooling, very innocently, making her essentially naive in regards to how the world and life works. Despite her claims to the contrary, though, public records prove that Blue's original name was Eliza Morphland. She was born in 1981. Her father, Richard, a farmer and former Illinois state representative who ran unsuccessfully on the GOP ticket for Lieutenant Governor in 2018. Morfland did not respond to request for comment. In 2021, Eliza appeared to deny on Twitter that she was Eliza Morfland, but Facebook photos show her standing with other members of the Morfland family. So it's been, as far as I'm concerned, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, debunked that she's been lying about her family origins, right? She's saying that she's not a Morfland. However, there's evidence that shows that she is. So she's the freaking bed, right? So there's no question that Eliza Bleu has advocated for trafficking survivors, especially on Twitter, which was partly the reason as to why she gained attention from Elon Musk in the first place. She has offered what's been described here as murky accounts of her own background that even leave her supporters unsure about any details really that she's giving. She can also grow very hostile with reporters who ask for basic facts, like the years that she was trafficked or the names of her monsters. For example, journalist Katie Herzog reached out to Eliza on the phone back in December, only to have Eliza become extremely defensive when Herzog raised even the prospect of asking Eliza Bleu about her own story, which is very odd, right? Because if you have Eliza Bleu, this advocate, right, for trafficking survivors speaking out, and you've got a reporter that's interested in you and your own backstory and what you've been doing, this, that, and the other, why become defensive on your own story of being a survivor? You know, why not give those details? Seems extremely sus, right? Right. Okay. So, interviewed on Tim Pool's podcast, Eliza Bleu said that she couldn't offer details about her monsters because of unspecified legal issues. I get that. But then she asked why it would be a problem if she was making up her story. It's like OJ doing that book, If I Did It, right? In my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Come the frick on. Like, as a real survivor, I'd never say that. I'd never say, well, why would it be a problem if I was making up my story? I would never say that. Because it's inconceivable. Because it's the freaking truth. Like, what? What? Oh, you see? Like, my hatred for Eliza Bleu, it is really coming out at the moment. She absolutely infuriates me as a survivor. Like, right, here we go. Quote. Let's hypothetically, you see, I'm that pent up now. Let me get my teeth back in my gob. Let's say hypothetically, it's made up. What's my biggest win so far in public? Getting Twitter to address minor, monstrous material and make it a top priority. I'm not asking a monster for money, and I'm not asking people for money, she added. I don't even know where to begin with that. I really, really don't. Like, oh, let's hypothetically, consider that I'm making my story up. What? And it's like, well, if I am, well, out of that, really good came out of it because it got Twitter to address the minor exploitation issues that were going on Twitter, this, that, and the other. Okay. But that completely undermines A, your credibility, and B, Twitter's freaking credibility. In believing a source, in trusting a source, in trusting a person, that if they are making it up, why are they listening to you in the freaking first place? You're not legitimate then in that respect, in that scenario. And Twitter are absolute dummies for listening to her if that is the scenario. Right, okay. So, the Daily Beast pieced together a rough outline of her account of her experiences based on interviews that she's given to sympathetic media outlets. Okay. So she apparently has been very selective as to who she speaks to. If I was an advocate for trafficking survivors, I'd be speaking to anyone that would freaking listen to me, yeah? To get the message out, to raise more awareness. Why be so picky and selective? Right? Don't make sense. It does not make sense. Now, apparently she says that her survivor story spanned 2 different periods, separated by roughly 10 years. She says she was first, with a monster manipulating her by a prominent photographer she met at a Warped Tour concert in Chicago when she was 16 years old. A few years later, when she was still a teenager, Blue's father drove her to LA because Blue was convinced that an unnamed high-profile musician she met through that photographer would make her a star. Instead, she claims that she was intimately attacked within 48 hours of arriving in the city, according to a 2020 podcast interview. Her monsters quickly hooked her to illicit substances that she knew as ice, which is generally recognized as slang for crystal. Although Blue has said that she didn't know what illicit substance it was. She then claims that she was used as a commodity for $500 to a monster intimate ring in the Hollywood Hills, where she found herself living with members of these monsters that essentially passed around transgender women. She said she was used as a commodity for $500 to a very old gentleman in the hills, Blue said in the 2020 interview. She claims she struggled to get enough water and food because she was on illicit substances and other things. But Blue was such a handful for her monsters, in her telling, that they ultimately gave her back to her original monster. She claims she was hospitalized for taking too much of the illicit substances before returning to a family farm in Illinois, saying that her family didn't even recognize her when she got off the plane. After 2 weeks, she returned to LA to retrieve a car, but then she was swept up again into the ring for an undefined period. She says that she compares what she was going through in terms of what was happening in her head as to Stockholm Syndrome. Her second trafficking period in her account began around about 2008, 2009, when she was living in the Chicago area. In the same 2020 podcast interview, she claimed that there was a high-profile athlete that was involved that she declined to name. She declines to name any of these people. That man and his associates, according to Eliza, put him in a dangerous neighborhood. She said existed on what she called a gang line, a violent border where 2 Chicago gang territories meet. She says that her mattress was on the floor because they had so many incidents that year in the area that she didn't want to get caught up in. She says that she attempted to leave her monsters in 2013 and ultimately succeeded in 2014. She suggested that her former monsters from Chicago might still be out to get revenge on her and her family members. So far, so scary, right? She says when she stepped away, her monsters lost money and that they want that money back. She says she hasn't pressed charges against the unnamed athlete and her monsters in a 2021 interview, saying that the men could still track her down and unalive her. She's absolutely terrified of her safety and her family's safety and the people that she cares about. That's how organized they are. She says that her family knows every detail and stands behind her. Blast the corporate media for asking questions about her past, declaring if anyone steps on my family's property or my property, let it be extremely cleared that we're going to defend ourselves. Okay, so her background, seems absolutely horrific, horrifying, right? There's details, they're a little bit murky, they're not defined, it's very generalized, but on the face of it, she's the bed. She's gone through a lot, right? However, even her friends now are speaking out and saying, nah, she's exaggerating for clout, for attention. And here's one of them. So, Wenzel, a one-time friend of Eliza Bleu, says that she has known Eliza for more than 2 decades and doesn't think that Eliza's account is accurate. She told the Daily Beast she met Blue in the Quad Cities, where both women were partying with musicians. Wenzel was 18 at the time, and Blue was in her early 20s. Daily Beast has verified the friendship with photographs. So she says that they were both deeply involved in the scene subculture of the early noughties. Tight jeans, the haircuts, MySpace, LiveJournal. Wenzel was trying to hook up with a member of one of her favourite bands on a tour bus in Iowa City when Eliza stepped on board. They had mutual friends, a shared interest in music, and the men who made it. Wenzel said, Eliza said she was going to be very famous for sleeping with band members. Now, Wenzel takes issue with Eliza's timeline of her experience with these supposed monsters, right? She claims that she too was at the Warped Tour concert where Eliza met the photographer she claims is one of her monsters. But while Blue said that she wasn't even 18 when she met the monster, Wenzel insists that Eliza would have been in her early 20s, putting the date of the concert sometime in the early 2000s. So first and foremost, big major hole in a story there. Eliza says she was younger, but this friend is like, oh, no. She was in her early 20s. Like, booyah. Yeah? Oh, it gets worse. So, Wenzel says that her timeline is just so weird, and she appears to be lying about her age in certain articles. Now, Eliza moved to LA, but Wenzel doesn't remember hearing about her old friend being within this particular monstrous situation. She said Blue unsuccessfully tried to convince Wenzel to move in with her in California. She didn't recall Blue calling home to the Quad Cities with tales of having to rely not very nicely on ICE or living with survivors that were transgender in the Hollywood Hills. Wenzel said she keeps seeing these stories out of LA and believes that absolutely didn't happen. By 2005, Eliza was back in Illinois and eventually earned a cosmetology license. She began touring as a traveling stylist for musicians. She worked for the mega popular rock band at the time, My Chemical Romance. I love that band. Absolutely amazing, right? And yeah, looking into that, she actually had a very brief relationship with the lead singer, Gerard Way, which, looking into that, there was a lot of controversy behind that, and wait for a future video on that one. Now, Blue stirred up some controversy of her own with diehard supporters of the band in online mini scandals that featured her calling Jeffree Star the No Word and allegedly authoring a thinly veiled fictional account of a failed relationship with Gerard Way. After leaving that particular scene, she started to live with a friend in Chicago between 2009 and 2011. This is around about the period when Eliza says that she fell into that monster ring again. But that's not how her former roommate actually recalls things. Now, the Daily Beast is not using her name out of fear of backlash, but instead she says that her and Eliza lived in Wicker Park, an affluent and trendy Chicago neighborhood. That the roommate says that Blue's parents were always supportive financially, saying she was not in a precarious situation. She does remember Eliza sleeping on the floor, but not because of fear of being caught in a bang, bang, bang situation, right? Quote, she slept on the floor, but by choice, because she was into these floor pillows at the time. But then added that eventually Eliza bought a bed. Like the ex-roommate, Wenzel scoffs at the idea that Blue lived in a dangerous neighborhood Wenzel, who by then was married, had a family, had a child, said she brought a toddler to visit Eliza and the roommate at their apartment and hardly the front line of a gang war. Quote, Wenzel said that is so not true. She lived in a really cute apartment. They're the whitest girls you could ever meet. There was no gang activity. So in her second round of apparently being in this monster circuit, right? Eliza's turning around and saying, you know, I was moved into this house where it was on the borderline of these two gangs at war. And oh my goodness, it was so dangerous to step out. And it was so dangerous even inside my house that I had to sleep on the floor, this, that, and the other. Well, two of her mates back then are saying she lived nowhere in that situation at all. She lived in a very, very rich, affluent neighborhood. Oh, and by the way, she wasn't that strapped for cash because the bank of mum and dad helped her. Contradictions, 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 contradictions in a story. Eliza Bleu, where are the receipts? Where are your receipts? Seriously. Because there's so many contradictions that are coming out of her story that either A, her friends are lying, or B, she's lying. In my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. There's so many holes in her story that I think she's lying. I really, really do. And I absolutely hate her. Because there is a special kind of hell for people that lie about this. Simple as. Simple. Now, around about this time, Eliza was known as Eliza Seep at that point in 2010. She unsuccessfully auditioned for American Idol. She soon moved on to another name and became Eliza Knows, the sultry self-proclaimed music video vixen. So under that new online name, she began to dance in mostly low-budget music videos. She had a YouTube playlist that was compiled, apparently, seemingly, by Eliza herself, with song titles like Feeling Myself and A Million Ways to Love You, that she was dancing to. In 2012, she filmed herself calling her mother to shock her with the news that she'd become a music video dancer, only to discover that her mother was happy for her anyway. She also gave interviews about the video vixen lifestyle in 2016, Blue speaking in a different voice than the one she used in early media appearances and the one that she uses today. Oh yeah, she's got a lot of identities here. Claimed that she had rejected an offer to have the bumpy bumpies with a client for $150,000. She says it's a nice offer, but it's not me. Still, it appears that, according to Daily Beast here, she may have engaged in some kind of intimate work around about this time. In one interview, she advertised her account on a now defunct website for girls with cams, where men could pay money to talk with her. I mean, you know, no shame. However you want to make your coin, fair play, as long as it's consensual. All Gucci, right? Around 2016, Wenzel claims that Blue asked her to join her as that, promising that Wenzel could make $500 in a night, an offer that stunned Wenzel and her husband. Wenzel said she was absolutely loving it. She was bragging about it, saying she was making so much money. But again, that doesn't jive with this whole story that Eliza Bleu is saying, whereby it's, I'm a victim of trafficking. Okay. Then, if you're a victim of trafficking, please can you explain why it seems like you were providing services on a website with girls with cams? Please explain why, according to Wenzel, you asked her to join as an escort. Please, explain this. Because again, something's wrong with this picture here. And it doesn't make sense. Generally speaking, for me, if it doesn't make sense, then something's not true. Opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, right? Now, Eliza later suggested that the workers with a boss might qualify as trafficking survivors. Though Wenzel said she didn't meet any boss or controller of women when she socialized with Eliza, be it an unnamed, high-profile athlete or otherwise. Wenzel saying she's a very powerful, very smart, intelligent woman. I will not discredit her for that. She knows exactly what she's doing. Now, hang on a minute. How is she saying that without any further explanation whatsoever? Just going to put that question out there, okay? Now, as proof that she is a survivor, Bleu often cites the organizations that she says saved her life, which is Eve's Angels, a Christian non-profit. Bleu says that she was desperate to leave her monsters in 2013 and she contacted Eve's Angels at the time. Bleu claimed to have found the group via a web address in a Bible. The group soon took her away from her monsters and into a safe house 3 states away. In her account, she claimed she briefly returned to her monsters after that escape, but eventually escaped for good around 2014. Annie Donnywald, who's the discovering founder of this organization, did defend Eliza earlier this month, tweeting that Bleu is the real deal. But like Eliza, Donnywald's claims about trafficking in her own life, about her own survivorship, have actually come under scrutiny. In 2018, Donnywald's parents and brother filed a defamation suit against Donnywald and Eve's Angels. While Donnywald and her children were living with her family members in Michigan, Donnywald's parents confronted her about her treatment of her daughter, according to the lawsuit. In response, Donnywald and her group accused her parents of being monsters to her and controlling the movements of children, according to a 2022 appeals court opinion. So, yeah. Donnywald took the case to police, leading to criminal investigation into her parents, but no charges. Donnywald's claims fell apart after her daughter told her grandparents that Donnywald had told her to fabricate the claims in an attempt to score a payoff from the parents. The appeals court opinion found she's been ordered to pay a judgment of more than $47,000 plus legal fees. The family was still stalled in settlement talks as of the May 2022 court ruling, with Donnywald denying the defamation claims. And when the Daily Beast actually wrote out for a request for comment, Donnywald hasn't responded. Eve Angels haven't returned an email or basically no response whatsoever. So, in other words, the founder of this organization that Eliza Bleu is saying, this is proof that I'm a survivor of trafficking because I went to this organization and they saved me. The founder of that organization that's defended Eliza Bleu as a murky freaking past herself and, yeah, has been found to defame those that she has accused of being monsters. Amber Heard vibes, anyone? Like, yeah, so that is the strength of the person that's defending Eliza Bleu. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Are you getting to grips now as to why Twitter and I absolutely hate the freaking pants off of this girl? Seriously. So, yeah, Bleu emerged as a public survivor advocate a few weeks into the lockdown situation. She had amassed a large following on Twitter, culminating in her alliance with Musk. In December, Eliza Bleu helped Musk in his campaign against Twitter's former head of trust and safety, Yoel Roth, who, by the way, can rot, as far as I'm concerned. Who seemingly angered the billionaire after resigning in November, linking to a 2010 tweet by Roth that said, "Can high school students ever meaningfully consent with their teachers?" Musk replied, "This explains a lot. Hence, yeah, that dude can rot in hell forever and ever and ever. Amen," right? So this is where cracks are appearing in Eliza's reputation. Now, they say, especially within the right-wing circles she once courted, I'm sorry, there's no right or left wing. It's literally from all corners of the political divide, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I can see. That is literally looking at Eliza Bleu, looking at a story and thinking something doesn't add up here, makes a few inquiries, does a few little bits of research and comes to the conclusion of F Eliza Bleu, right? Whether you're right, left, centrist, whatever. It's across the political divide. So, Daily Beast, dudes, come on. Come on! I know I'm not right, that's for sure. As in, right-leaning politically. Let's not get that twisted, all right? So, controversy on all of this actually started on the 6th of January. I've been living under a rock. When she appeared on Tim Pool's video stream. During the show, she claimed to represent 2 anonymous survivors of Andrew Tate, who has been arrested and held for some pretty heavy, monstrous stuff there. Now, because she spoke about that, Daily Beast are, skewing this article to say, well, because she spoke out against it, some of his most rabid fans, along with other right-wing people, began scrutinizing her backstory. I think that's too much of a generalization, very much misleading, Daily Beast. I'm just saying. They posted clips from past media appearances to cast doubts on her trafficking claims, trolled her with screenshots from a racing music video dating back to 2016 that she participated in for World Star Hip Hop in her Eliza Knows phase. Her outfits were very provocative in that video. They didn't feature any skin situation or appeared to be non-consensual and had been on YouTube for 7 years. Still, this is where it all turns to ratchets and really what I can tell really ramped up Twitter's hatred of her. Twitter locked the accounts of those that covered this after they refused to delete their tweets about the music video. Eliza, for her part, declared that the screenshots amounted to posting a non-consensual photo. In a series of tweets on January the 20th, she vowed to escalate to the full extent of the law, saying Twitter did an outstanding job and they'll be excluded from legal action. There won't be anyone else involved spared. I take things all the way and I have no chill. I'm a survivor advocate, and that doesn't stop with advocating for myself as a survivor. However, again, this whole music video situation showing the video, this, that, and the other, again, appears extremely consensual. And I saw a video, again, thanks to thequartering and his series of tweets that he's been doing on this, that shows that she's absolutely happy and proud of being in that video. So, what is it? Why all of a sudden has she changed? Right? Think about it. Right at the beginning, her friends in this article has said that she, as far as they're concerned, she's over-exaggerating details of her story for clout, for attention. Yes, it's all making sense to you. It's all making sense. Ella Irwin, now Twitter's head of trust and safety under Elon Musk, previously praised Blue, defended the suspensions in a thread on Sunday, saying, in the past couple of weeks, we've suspended multiple accounts and or restricted content, causing confusion for users. Unfortunately, we can't answer questions or share details about specific users and account actions. But yeah, people are still angry because at the end of the day, these accounts, they've been sharing a video that's been up for 7 years that Eliza Bleu has had no problem during those 7 years of that video being up, where there's evidence to show that she was happy to be in that video, that she was proud, right? Video vixen proud, yeah? Those whole 7 years, she was absolutely fine. But all of a sudden, it's being used on Twitter to poke holes in a story, and she ain't liking it. And she's saying that sharing it is tantamount to victimizing her. I'm sorry, who the frick is she kidding right now? Who the frick is she kidding? And with the little platform that I've got, and the not that much power that I've got, I'm very much aware of my standing here, okay? Even I'm calling out right now, Twitter, for every single one that you have suspended, permabanned, or banned because they shared that video, whether it's stills or little clips or the full thing, I call upon you guys to unban them, unpermaban them, and unsuspend them straight away. Restore their full access to Twitter right now. Because for all your freaking bluster of saying this is a new world on Twitter, free speech, free speech, free speech, which I believed in when Elon Musk took over. I believed in 100%, yeah? Looking into this whole Eliza Bleu situation, yeah, you guys don't have a backbone right now. Where's your freaking proudness of being bastions of free speech on social media now? Where's it gone? Where you at? Restore their full access to everyone that has been affected, that has shared stills of the full video or even clips of it. Because she had no problem the last 7 years of it being online. But all of a sudden, it's used to poke holes in her story. She's not liking it anymore. Oh, no, because it doesn't fit with her current freaking narrative and her current identity. So, yeah, Blue's critics have said, look, you know, Blue, as Eliza knows at the time, celebrated the launch of the World Star video, has evidence of that, which I've seen, again, thanks to thequartering, suggesting that she participated in its creation consensually. They also dug up a 2021 interview in which she told Michael Malice that she was shared on Twitter when a group of people used her pictures to create social media accounts. It's like she's using that term for everything, and she's using that term, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, in the wrong way. It's like, do you actually understand the meaning of this word? Like, seriously? Do I need to get like a dictionary and bash it over her head? Like, oh my goodness. It's insane. It's insane. She's also, yeah, she it's like tantamount to catfishing. She's describing a sort of identity theft as trafficking. It's like she has a very expansive definition of this term, right? Now, this hasn't sat right with Maria Farmer, who is a survivor of Hefe and MaxiPad. From Farmer's perspective, her Blue's public posts seem to conflate what it actually means to be a survivor with Triple X work. Quote, this woman and her cohorts have effectively mixed up the words trafficking and survivor. We just want to use the word victim now. Farmer tells the Daily Beast. Since emerging as an anti-trafficking activist, Eliza has crossed paths with Hefe's survivors. In September 2020, she announced on Twitter that she had accepted a new position with Victims Refuse Silence. Now, just on that note, I like to tell myself as a survivor, not a victim. It's personal preference. Let me just get that out of the way there. Now, this organization at the time was the non-profit of Virginia Giuffre. By November of that year, Blue tweeted that she had stepped back into a part-time role with the organization. Why? She was once featured in videos on the website soliciting donations. She was absolutely firmly active for that organization. But Theresa Helm, a survivor of Hefe and former director of this particular organization, said that she became friends with Eliza and asked her to join the group before it dissolved. Saying she's nonstop on Twitter, which has been wonderful because it's brought to light a lot of things that were happening that people weren't paying attention to otherwise. She's been a pioneer in waking people the hell up. But Helm said, I support her as a survivor entirely. Nothing in her past makes anything less valuable in terms of her advocacy work. It's not her job to prove anything to anybody. Well, if she's using it to promote herself and to the way that she's doing it in the sense of, as far as I'm concerned, revisionist history, right? She's revising her own history here. That video with World Star, oh no, that wasn't a consensual video. No, that's evidence of me being trafficked. Right? The 2 instances that she was in that ring, yeah? Oh, I was trafficked. The second one in particular, where apparently she lived in an area where she was close to a gang border and she was scared of the bullets flying, that she had to sleep on the freaking floor. Her friends turned around and said, no, she lived in a wealthy, affluent neighborhood. Like, all these holes in her story. No, yeah, she does need to explain herself. She does. Because again, there's a special kind of hell for people that lie about this. Now, some survivors of Hefe said they didn't trust Eliza. One who's remained anonymous said that she shared concerns about Eliza after researching her background and finding ties to right-wing figures and publications. Saying, the ability to finally share my story and connect with others was freeing, but it's not as straightforward as simply going public. Only a strong foundation of therapeutic recovery prepared me for the publicity generated by the salacious facts of this case. However, I was not prepared for my trauma being co-opted for others' gain. Again, let's go right back to the beginning. Her friends who are poking holes in this story are turning around and saying she's over-exaggerating her experiences, her life, for clout, for attention. Farmer who tried to report Hefe and MaxiPad in the 90s to the authorities said that she raised concerns about Eliza's backstory on Twitter only for Blue to block her. Again, let's go back a little bit further. She's happy to speak to the media, the ones that sympathize with her, but yet the ones that challenge her even a little bit and press her for just a little bit more detail in regards to her backstory, she gets all defensive and don't want to speak to him then. Again, someone who's an advocate for survivors of trafficking, you would think you want to speak to everyone that would listen, to get the story out, to raise the awareness, whoever it is, right? And not be so picky and choosy to the ones that are more sympathetic to you, to the ones that aren't, right? Because the message, the cause is more important, right? It would override that thing, that bias, you would think, right? But Farmer said she clung to us all from out of nowhere. She had none of the attributes of a Hefe survivor, yet insinuated otherwise. And let's go back a little bit to the whole Amber Heard situation, right? All of us in the survivorship community, when we saw her on that stand, we turned round and we said in one voice, she's the freaking bed, she ain't a survivor. We do not recognize any survivor traits in her whatsoever. Like, none. Zero. Her whole conduct in court, it was like, that is not a survivor. Like, she ain't part of this community. We know. Yeah? And so for the Hefe survivors to turn around and say, yeah, we saw her too, and we were like, nah, she ain't one of us. That speaks volumes, guys. And then again, that pokes holes into, well, is she a true survivor or not of this whole trafficking situation that she's now claiming? If survivors don't recognize that she's an actual part of the community, then where does that leave her in terms of a legitimacy of whether she's actually being trafficked or not? You see where I'm coming from? This is dodgy AF, guys. She's also been found participating in reality TV appearances. Sometime around 2002, she appeared on the dating show Blind Date as a contestant. So hostile that the show's editors kept a running on-screen count of her complaints. In 2012, at the height of what she would later describe as the second situation of being trafficked in the whole gang territory in Chicago, she appeared as an amateur model on Chicago-based The Steve Harvey Show, where Tyra Banks judged her performance. So, you know, these traffickers, if she was under illicit substances, being controlled, couldn't go out, was scared to go out because it was such a dangerous area. Again, had to sleep on the floor because of the bullets flying, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, how did she then appear in that same period on the Steve Harvey Show and being judged by Tyra Banks herself? Yeah. Try and, square that circle, guys. Right? Now, the suspensions, for those that have spoken out against Eliza Bleu on Twitter and for those that have shared, in particular, this World Star video situation, has actually fueled speculation about Eliza Bleu's access to Elon Musk and the high top tier of Twitter, because at the end of the day, he literally said last year, you now have a direct line to me, Eliza Bleu. So what's stopping her, right, from going to Elon Musk and being like, oh my goodness, these people are sharing these pictures and these videos and it's victimizing me. And so, Elon, can you do something about it? Right? No stopping her from doing that if she actually has a direct line to Elon Musk, right? Right? So, David Karpf, an associate professor in the School of Media and Public Affairs at George Washington University, told the Daily Beast that the Blue controversy underscores how chaotic content moderation has become under Musk, saying you can say what you want on Twitter so long as nobody notices and you don't say mean things to anybody in Elon's circles. For her part, Eliza has denied asking Musk to suspend the accounts that tweeted the World Star video, saying if I was going to ask for a favour from Elon Musk, I would ask him to make humans a multi-planetary species, which is pretty much already trying to do with the whole Mars situation. Farmer told the Daily Beast that Elon needs to pull out a little Shakespeare and study it. Thou dost protest too much, she added, saying that she believes it's almost like he's hired this woman to cover for himself. Anyone who was even remotely affiliated with Hefe is odious at this stage. In response to some of Eliza Bleu's pro-Musk tweets, multiple users have replied with a snapshot of MaxiPad and Musk, with one writing, "Thank you, Elon, for looking out for the children." Yeah. Bleu has occasionally raised money online related to her anti-trafficking efforts, saying, I serve survivors of human trafficking. My standard caseload is 20 survivors at a time. During this season, I took on an extra 61 survivors via an online advocacy. But do you know what? With all the holes in a story and all the contradictions in a story, I absolutely am skeptical with everything that she says and do not believe her at all. I really, really don't. Like, what organization is she affiliated with now? How is she taking on that many cases? Right? And doing everything else at the same time that she's doing in her life. It doesn't make sense. So, an ex then, as I get my breath back, an ex then comes into this article saying that Eliza Bleu had told him that she wanted to be famous. She mentioned how she would love to be on the Ben Shapiro podcast, saying that was a joke that she had. I'm going to get on Joe Rogan before you. Blue also joked about the famous men she dreamed of dating, with Musk among them, saying she once told me there's 3 people I would cheat on you with: Ben Shapiro, Elon Musk, and then there might have been one other, he recalled. The reason this is all funny to me now is because last month she was on Ben Shapiro's podcast. Her and Elon Musk are in communication with each other. She definitely had these aspirations of being somebody. Her aspirations are kind of going exactly how she wanted in a weird way. And again, to sound like a parrot, but it is what it is. Right at the beginning, her friends have said, look, she is over-exaggerating her past story for clout, for attention, and she's getting it. And according to the ex, she always wanted attention from Ben Shapiro and Elon Musk, and guess what? She's got it. Just as if by magic, right, guys? Wow. So, that is where we're at the moment in terms of an introductory guide of who is Eliza Bleu and why the frick does Twitter and I, yours truly, hate her so freaking much. There's so much holes in her story. I am absolutely firmly believing, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, that she is lying about her story, that she is certainly over-exaggerating her past for clout, for attention. Now, I am always open for my mind to be changed if the evidence appears that proves that she is telling the truth or proves that part of what she is telling is the truth. But everything, in my opinion, has been contradicted to the point where I don't believe anything that comes out of her gob. I really, really don't. And this woman is freaking dangerous, guys. Because when you speak out against her, on Twitter in particular, what do you know? You get banned, or you get suspended, or you get permabanned. It's like, what the douche, right? Who is this chick? Who is she? Really? For that kind of power? Makes sense. It makes sense. She does not make sense to me. She really, really does not. And as I've always said, I will say it time and time again, there's a special kind of hell for people that lie about being a survivor. And she is looking mightily sus right now. This has been the longest video I have ever done pre-recorded, but it is a very, very important one to go through. Believe it or not, an introductory guide to who Eliza Bleu is and why Twitter and I freaking hate her so freaking much. With that being said, enough with my gob now. It's time for your gobs. Comment down below. What do you think to all of this? I've done a lot of research over the last couple of days. I'm going to be bringing you a lot more in regards to Eliza Bleu because you guys need to know what's going on here. It is absolutely insane, this woman. I'm telling you. The more you get to know what's been going on and what she's been doing, and saying, the more you guys are just going to think, what an evil human being. Seriously, wait for tomorrow's video, She says, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, the most disgusting thing, or one of the most disgusting things you could ever say, as far as I'm concerned. Disgusting opinion that comes out of a gob. You have no idea. Stay tuned for that. In the meantime, if you appreciated this video and you want more, and like I said, there's gonna be more. There has to be more on this now. We all need to speak up against her. Make sure you subscribe to join our Alter Nerd tribe. Help us get to 100k. Like, share. Comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, and whatever's with regards to Eliza Bleu. Keep it friendly. Also, as well, for your consideration, you can always send me a super thanks, which is just below this video right here. And until the next time, you guys, laters.